The SEER Enterprise Database unites your entire estimating enterprise. We will now demonstrate its installation. The first step is to plan. Here are some questions to ask. How many types of users will there be? Will everyone simply be considered an estimator, or able to create and freely share with everyone else? Or will restrictions be implemented on who can create, view, and edit projects? Will there be a process in which estimates may in some form or another be created, refined, reviewed, approved, and then archived? Which SEER tools are to be part of the mix? That may include Csm, SEER-IT, or other SEER estimating tools, and it may also include use of the SEER Browser Edition, the SEER Estimate Central module, which permits you to get a bird's eye view of the entire estimating portfolio. Once your planning is complete, you'll be ready to start installation. This guidance is intended to give you building blocks for a flexible setup. Start by downloading the SEER-DB and SEER license utility. Initiate the SEER license utility and the screen on the left will appear. Click Next and you will be prompted for a location to unzip installation files. Next, run setup for the SEER-DB and proceed through the installation dialogues as shown, until you are asked to connect with the SQL Server database system. At this point, specify either the SA login or another login which can create databases. Now enter the name of the database you are creating and specify a DSM name. Either before or after the database has been created, review the users and groups that will be given permission to access it. This is a view of the local users and groups dialog. For this demonstration, we have created 3 types of groups: administrators, estimators, and project managers, with 2 users assigned to each group. Generally, you'll need one group with privileges to accomplish a wide array of tasks, here SEER administrators, and may wish to create one or more groups with lesser privileges, here estimator and project manager, who can create work but may not be able to view others' work depending on the policy. Next, add these logins to the SQL Server database if they aren't already there. Now map these logins to the newly created SEER database. In this demonstration, SEER administrators are given an admin role. SEER estimators are simply given public access. They can create projects, but they can't view other projects, nor have additional privileges. User roles are configured using a separate utility. We will install it on a client desktop and access the database remotely. In this client desktop, create an ODBC connection to the database. Select Windows or SQL authentication depending on how the admin login's authentication had been set up. Specify SEER-DB as the default database and test the connection. Next, install Csm. This step is required for testing and for the .NET runtime. Csm is delivered in an installer package, which first must be unzipped, as shown in these dialogues. Csm installation is quite straightforward with few options, and so the dialogues are not shown. Your next step is to install the SEER Enterprise Database Manager onto the client machine. Start by copying the installation folder. This is a subfolder contained in the SEER Enterprise Database's installation setup folders. Run setup for the SEER Enterprise Database Manager. Setup is located in the folder you just copied over. Once installed, invoke the SEER Enterprise Database Manager, running it as a different user. Select a user who was given full admin privilege for the SEER-DB. In other words, they were one of the SEER administrators we previously set up. In the SEER Enterprise Database Manager, select New Database to Manage, and from the Data Source dialog, select the data source name for the SEER Enterprise Database, here SEER-DB. The Access Control menu has two selections we will now use. From the Access Control menu, select Users to confirm the list of everyone with any level of privilege to access this database. Next, select General User Permissions. In this demonstration, we give SEER estimators permission to create projects and to view all projects when querying the database. Nothing more. We give project managers permission to also modify projects. At this time, all setup and configuration is complete. You can close the Enterprise Database Manager. We will now test our work. First, invoke SEER-SIM. You may select Run as different user if you are testing with a Windows login other than your own. Once SEER-SIM has been invoked, go to the Options menu and select Default Enterprise Database. Select the data source name assigned to the SEER Enterprise Database. When prompted for a login, you will use a SQL login if the user was given SQL Server authentication. Otherwise, click Use Trusted Connection. If the user was given Windows authentication and that user is not you, you hopefully invoked SEER-SIM using Run as different user. If not, do so now. Now create a test project. First, click the New Estimate button. Next, enter a name for the project. Here we have specified Estimator A project. Next, click the Insert Element button. Now specify a name for the element you are creating within the project. We have specified First Element. Next, we will verify that we can save the project to the database. From the File menu, select Save to Database. Enter a project name and click Save. If everything goes according to plan, the project will be saved to the database. If the alternate user is accessing the SEER-DB using Windows authentication, then close SEER-SIM and reopen it using another user. If the user is accessing the SEER-DB using SQL Server authentication, you don't need to close SEER-SIM. Instead, re-specify the database using another user, in this case, Estimator B. Go to the File menu and select Open from Database. In the project list is the project saved using Estimator A. We had earlier created logins Estimator A and Estimator B who each had permission to create projects, but not to view others' projects. The project just created was saved using Estimator A's credentials. As you can see, the Open button will be disabled, signifying that Estimator B does not have privilege to view the project created by estimator A. This is a successful test of privileges. Your installation and test of the SEER Enterprise Database is complete. This presentation with notes is available to any Galrath customer wishing to install the SEER database.